Welcome to I Heart Geek.
So Kevin's already getting passionate. Tyler's about to flip out. We are talking. Welcome to I Heart Geek. We are talking about Xmen97. Behind the scenes, you guys got to hear this. This show is the closest thing that the show has ever come to breaking up is because of this show, I think. There has been some major
It
tangents going
wasn't
on.
that bad.
It was pretty ugly.
It wasn't pretty.
It was not pretty. So Xmen97, this show, it's got its good and it's got its bads. You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the Xmen97.
Nothing's going to be 100%.
That's not true. You didn't watch Iron Claw, I guess, but that's a different episode altogether. Great movie. Anyway, Xmen97. I wish they wouldn't have used the X-Men name. I just want to start that off. That's the first thing. I mean, X-Men, yes. Yeah, X-Men's fine. I wish they wouldn't have used the 97. Okay. I think I would have given it a lot more grace.
Yeah.
Going into it. Okay. Now, and just before everyone thinks that I'm going to crap on everything, I ended up liking the storyline mostly of the show. So that's a win for these two guys here.
We'll take what we can get.
We'll take what you can get on this one.
For sure.
Wait a second. Wait.
Okay,
Dub
fire away.
likes something that Marvel's put off. Let me check that off. He likes a Marvel property.
I won't say that I like it, but I'll say that I was pleasantly surprised by the storyline. Fair is that a fair saying? Would that be fair to say? Okay, so
he liked it.
Don't do it because you're going to put me on the offensive, and I'm just going to have to start talking about the bad art and everything else. We'll get to that.
We'll get there.
Okay, so let's talk X-Men for a second. Tyler, let's start out. What's your first thoughts on this Xmen97? Are you glad they did it? Yeah. Go.
No, I've been waiting for a long time for this. I mean, they have the ability. They have the money to put behind it. I mean, it's Disney / Marvel. So, I was very happy to have it. I mean, it's a continuation of everything I loved as a child. So there was no second thought. Once I heard it announced, it was a straight yes for me.
That was a problem with me, is because I was excited about it. And these guys know, but when I go into a new property, especially if it's something that's a reboot of something I loved, I go in thinking I'm going to hate this. Because that way, when I watch it, usually I'm pleasantly surprised. So episode 1, I was like, I'm expecting Xmen97, the real one, and it was disappointing for several reasons. But I wish I would have managed my expectations more.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's part of it. You got to manage expectations. Because it's 2024, and when was the last time we got to watch the X-Men animated series? I mean, something's going to change. Things are going to be a little different, and you're going to have to accept a little bit of a little change that you might not appreciate. But as long as it hits the notes that you're hoping for, then cool.
So, Kevin, what notes did it hit that you were hoping for that you were so excited about this?
So let me take you back.
Oh boy!
Third grade.
Here we go.
Okay.
You make me feel so old that you just said that. But go ahead.
Third grade. I don't know anything about comic books. Don't know anything. Right. And I have a book, and it's an X-Men book, and it has Morph on it, and it has this whole thing. And I'm looking at the artwork. I'm like, this is cool. And I'm going through it. Right. And then Xmen97 comes on, and I realized that it was the first episode. The book I was reading was the first episode of Xmen97 in third grade, and I'll never forget it. And I was hooked. Morph was my favorite character. I loved Morph.
I've never heard anyone ever say that in the history of the world.
No, actually, Wolverine was my favorite character, but I absolutely loved Morph as a kid. Like, I thought he was the coolest. I was a weird kid.
Interesting. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So. And so growing up, that's my childhood. That was my first comic book. We talked about the Avengers, we talked about Marvel. X-Men was my thing. Okay, I collected the comic books, X-Men 2029, not all of them. So When this was coming out, I got excited. Obviously, I watched it, just the whole X-Men show through Disney Plus with my daughter like a year ago, start to finish, went all the way through.
Second best animated series ever.
Which was the first? You're
Justice
probably DC,
League.
right?
Justice
What's
League.
that? Yeah,
Justice League.
You could say that. I figured you were gonna say that.
It was that was incredible. But we've done that show before.
so what? You know, as a kid, so going into this, I'm like, all right, River and I, my daughter, watched it all. Let's go in. So it was. I know nostalgia is a crazy thing, but it gave me some of the same feeling I had as a kid. And watching it now, granted, it's made more for adults and this go around. It's not a kids show. The first two
which
episodes,
is an issue I have.
First two episodes, and you get to the end of the second episode, you're like, oh, we're going places. And I was really upset actually at what they were doing with Xavier, where he's dead and all this stuff, because that's not how the show ended. They all knew he was going with Leandra, and then they kind of weaved it in there, but I think that was unnecessary drama. Yeah, it hit the story beats that I was really going for. And then the stories they hit, albeit they skimmed through them pretty quickly on some of them.
Mm-hmm.
They did all the stories I remembered as a kid. I mean, it was the greatest hits of the night. You know, it was the greatest hits.
I want to disagree with you on that one, but we'll get to why I disagree with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
But so this is what I want to do, because you guys are very much X-Men apologists, Xmen97 apologists. That's not a bad thing. You guys are really digging the show. Okay. Absolutely. So I want to hit some of my complaints, and I'm going to give you guys a chance to respond on them. Look at Kevin. I feel like I just threw down like I feel like I'm Raymond Burr right now, or I just challenged Alexander Hamilton. Yeah. That's what it feels like right now. Wow.
No, it's all good.
Freaky, bud. All good. This is all love. We're all friends.
It's okay to not like them.
There was a lot of discussion after Xmen97. Okay, yeah, so my first issue is the art. Now, the 5th season of X-Men, the real series, had this same hideous, sent off to Korea art style, that everything is way too bright, and like in this one, the Rogue, it's like Uncanny Valley. It's at that point, it's close enough, but it's uncomfortable to look at to me. Literally, I did have to kind of shut my eyes for at least 4 or 5 episodes to kind of be able to follow the story, because it's offensive to my eyes. And I'm going to let you guys respond to that. I'm not saying the art's bad. It's just, it doesn't look like X-Men to me. And I know that Kevin feels that it looks exactly the same, and I think that you need to get better glasses. So go ahead and respond to that. Either one of you guys that wants to hit that.
I feel like Kevin's going to have a little bit more than me to say on
Look
this.
Look at that anger. Look at the anger. It's adorable. He
looks exhausted.
I haven't said a word.
I would maybe suggest you check your prescription on that.
Okay.
But no.
And this came from my kid as well, by the way, so it's not just me.
I'll just say that, it didn't bother me. I did notice, it was one of the things that, yes, we did notice the animation. Mm-hmm. But not so much that it was a problem. Even in the original, we all binged the original before this came out.
Oh, absolutely.
And when there was definite noticeable changes in animation, it struck you, but it was something that could get past real quick. This is bright. This is very, especially on our TVs now, mm-hmm. versus back when I was a kid.
That's fair.
It was a lot brighter. Maybe some people had to pump the settings down, if you had it on Vivid or something. But it wasn't so much to where it was distracting for me, personally.
And that's more than fair.
And I was able to kind of go, okay, it's not the earlier seasons, that I remembered as a kid and whatnot, but wasn't a big deal.
Actually, I want to put it, because you said that just made me think of something that I can kind of put into words now why I don't like it. The bright colors, yeah, yada, yada. But okay. When we were in high school and my friends were learning to draw, and I was kind of learning to draw, I suck in comparison. We were learning to draw the X-Men, and it always looked to have that hand drawn look, which is the X-Men. This looks like it was drawn on the computer, and I think that's what my eyes are bothered by, because it doesn't feel hand drawn to me anymore. Especially when you look at Rogue's face, it's like that was in Photoshop.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely some noticeable things. You know,
But I think that's what hit me.
They said that it was still hand drawn, but I imagine digitally.
Yeah.
You know, they're not doing cell animation anymore. You know. So
because they're lazy, they're untalented.
I would love it. I would absolutely love it if they could take the time to do it. You know, because that would just produce such an honest product. But yeah,
honest. That's a good word for it.
Yeah, it wouldn't take me away from the story or anything like that. I'm not a big anime guy. Kevin knows this, but they've convinced me to start watching a particular anime that they like. And there's a lot of animation.
You need to watch Ghost Stories. Sorry.
No. I have seen a little bit of it.
You need to see that. Sorry.
It's wild. But yeah, you know, the animation stylings, I'm not really keen on. And there's a lot of tropes and stuff like that too. But I was able to just kind of push past it to absorb the story and everything. And now it's not even a thing for me. So, you know, I don't know. That's really just a very personal thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I haven't pushed back on you too hard on that. It's like, it's a very personal thing.
Well,
Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah. It is it is well, no, I mean it is a personal thing. I definitely feel you're in a minority here. And that's okay. I think you bring a good point of it being drawn on a computer. Now, I've watched a lot more cartoons or anime or whatever over the last 5 or 6 years, and that's kind of the way they do it now. They don't ever do the cell shading and everything else. And if growing up that was what you were used to, and even as an adult, is you're always think back to those times, I could see how that would be jarring. I don't see it as, because I remember watching, like I said, we just watched this thing last year, and there was multiple times in the old show that was like, ooh, that didn't go good. Is a lot of times whenever the X-Men were far away, because they were all hand drawn, they're like, oh, that didn't. And then with this show, you have a lot more crisp far away. But I mean, like I said, it's a completely subjective thing on that. I think the main point would be just like the stories of, it's like the stories is good. I can get past it. Anime, a lot of times, like, listen, Pokemon is not great. It's not really great art. It's really not. And the original Pokemon, it wasn't. It wasn't great. But yeah, the story was good and the idea was good, and you can push past it and say like, wow, this is actually really cool. I think that's kind of the same way with me. Even though I didn't have the art form, I didn't have the dismay that you did for the quality of it. I enjoyed it. I actually thought it was better. I did.
Oh, that's heresy right there. No,
I did. I thought it was better.
Icky.
Yeah, I'm not going to jump on that bandwagon, but it's still worth my time for sure.
Okay, let's hit the next thing, which is the kid-friendly thing. X-Men, the original was very kid-friendly. Mm-hmm. It gave us both the adult and the kid. Wait, let me finish my thought, and then you can hit it on. Now, I feel like this doesn't give you anything for kids. My kids are older now, but they're still like, yeah. I want, and this because I believe that the X-Men cartoon created a new generation of people that like comics. This did nothing to propel that onto the next generation, and I think they are missing out on something huge on that. That's me. Go ahead, Kevin.
I agree and both disagree with you. I agree that it's not for kids. It wasn't geared towards kids. They were geared towards a certain audience. But saying that, in the second episode, Genosha, my daughter was sitting next to me, my 8-year-old little girl, and the entire time, because they did Gambit right. They made Gambit. It was like, oh my god!
Until they didn't.
I know, it's the best Gambit we had. I'm like, oh my god, I actually like Gambit in this. I never liked it in the old one. And then
wash your mouth out with soap.
See, this is where it's different. There's Morph and Gambit.
Morph's terrible.
My daughter was sitting next to me. She goes, "I love Gambit. Gambit's so cool." Oh, she's all excited, and then he dies.
Spoilers.
And oh my God, the look on my poor girl's face when I realized that, oh, this is going to take some explaining to her mom. What just happened? Now saying that, some of the episodes and stories are a little slower because of that reason. It's geared, but my daughter, that little 8-year-old girl, is talking about X-Men now, and she did enjoy the show. She watched the whole thing. There was characters there that, obviously we watched the Xmen97 or the cartoon together, but she's like, it's become part of our conversation again because she did watch all the episodes. She really liked it. She's excited about it. So it was geared towards, I think, more older people, but I mean, kids still got something out of it. But there became some explaining to do on some of the episodes. It really did.
No.
It wasn't as bad as My Hero season 5, where I just basically said, "Hey, you can't watch this show anymore."
Yeah, I feel the same way.
you know the scene.
I know exactly what we're talking about. We're not going to mention that on this episode. Okay, now, so Tyler, before I ask you the $1 million question, what your kids thought about it, because I happen to know, if you guys have just 1 second, if you can go down, if you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. That helps us out tremendously, and I really appreciate it. Whether you like the X-Men or not, whether you agree with the person that's right, me, or the person that's wrong, Kevin. I just had to throw that in. I love you. I love you both.
You're being more argumentative.
There's gonna be a lot of this. There'll be a lot of that.
Because it's fun. It's fun to me. So if you can hit the subscribe button, hit the like, we really appreciate it. So Tyler, is it for kids?
No. No.
It's not passing anything on to the next generation?
No. Sadly. That did irk me quite a bit at first. I think more for selfish reasons it didn't bother me as things went on because it was just so good.
It's for you.
And I was like, this story is great. Look where this is going, look what they're doing and stuff. But there was definitely a big part of me that was like, man, my kids, it's not for them. They're not going to dig it. And how do I know this? Because I was like, X-Men, yeah. Even my kids saw my excitement, so they got excited. And to the point where they were like, oh, aren't you going to hit skip intro? And we don't skip.
My daughter tries to do it every time, and I was like, we're not skipping it. We listen to it every time.
You don't skip that intro. But, we get into it, and there's some cool action scenes and stuff, and they're paying attention. But at one point, I think it was like second or third episode, like my older son just got up and walked away. I'm like, where are you going? This is boring. I'm like, break my heart. But look at what kind of content kids, let's say maybe 16, 18 or under, consume a lot of. It's very quick hit stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot going on. It's not very in-depth, drawn out storylines and dialogue and stuff like that. And when Magneto starts going on and his 3-minute, just I don't know, ramble
as he looks like a 50-year-old drag queen,
that could be shortened up to make his point. But man, has he got to be super dramatic about it.
Mm-hmm.
You lose that crowd, real quick. They're like, come on, get to the point, and that was real disappointing. But at the same time, all that dialogue produced so much content, so much depth, that I obviously really enjoyed it. But what are you gonna do?
But as I say, with this property, I want this property to be something that's going to pass it on for the next generation.
That would
because
be
this did do more, the original, for the comic book industry, I think
100%.
than anything ever.
At that time, it saved Marvel, it saved comic books at that time.
So, as I say, if you're going to use Xmen97, that I feel, and that's an issue with me. I feel like that's something it needs to do, is to be able to pass it on to the next generation.
I don't think they were thinking of that.
Something. I think they should have been, though.
They should have been. I don't think they were. I think they wanted to put out like a supreme product that had all this depth and just this heart to it.
There was so much depth in it. That's what I'm saying, though. It wasn't gear. I'm kind of glad because of what we got, I'm kind of glad it was geared towards me, honestly. Just because of what we got, it's seriously the best Marvel, in my opinion, it's one of the best Marvel things we've gotten in years. In years.
Well,
I just
from the same company that gave us, just everything bad. Anyway, sorry, go ahead. I'm
years,
sorry, I
it's
said
probably
you.
the best one we've gotten.
I
You know,
think I know that you guys think that I like hated it, and I don't hate it, but I'm very the issues with it. The issues I have with it are pretty big issues for me. Okay, so here's my next issue.
Can we talk about Magneto real quick? You mentioned his drag queen costume. Yes, I couldn't stand it, but
hated that decision.
It's canon, but nobody liked it when it was canon.
When he turns into a villain again, you're like, oh my god, there it is. We didn't see it the entire time, and if we didn't see it the entire time, in my opinion, is because we were going to get that reveal at the end of like, there he is. Here's the old Magneto.
It worked.
It worked.
Okay.
That worked.
Yeah, but that costume.
I'll give, but that costume was so. Again, offensive to the eyeballs.
And of all the comic accurate costumes they could pick. I mean,
every time I saw it.
Just because it was in a comic doesn't mean anyone liked that. You know what I'm saying? Just saying. Okay, my next issue. If you like Grant Morrison, you'll like some of the episodes. A lot of this, especially episode 2 and I think 2 and 3, very time wibbly wobbly D&D on acid. That's a Grant Morrison comic book. Everything just, what the heck is going on? It's all over the place. Again, if I'm in the mood for Grant Morrison stuff, like some of his Batman stuff, I'll be like, yes. But if I'm not in the mood for it, I don't got time for it because it's just so all over. And that wasn't with every episode, but especially those first couple episodes, like, okay, squirrel. You know what I'm saying?
That was one of the digs I had it on it right at the beginning. It was kind of like the story.
It wasn't a good place to start. Maybe if it would have been later.
They compressed like some of these comic stories that were like 70 issues long, like the Madeline Pryor.
I'm not disagreeing, but they shouldn't do that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, they compressed it down, and I think that's where it felt like that because we actually had from the first episode to the last, it was like 9 months. Like that's if you going through the timeline, it's actually like 9 months, a year long. But it didn't seem like that. It seemed like back to back, and it's like what it did. The timing was off.
It was definitely written haphazardly on that.
It didn't feel like it had the nice flow to everything.
Okay, so my next issue. Wow, you guys agree with me? Yes.
I don't understand why we're doing this. The issues, just all the issues.
I just want to get them out because, yeah. Well, okay, last one. This is my last one I'm going to give. Okay, so with the voice acting, I'm not going to say anything bad about the voice acting, because we have friends that listen to the show that are part of the cast. But I feel like there was certain characters that I believe the voice director changed, and there was a lot of I think the nicest way to say this, the robot from Futurama that's got the ungodly acting talent? We see that a lot, especially from Cyclops. It's a lot.
The one thing I do agree with you on.
Rogue was
terrible.
Rogue was my first.
She hasn't been on the show. I don't care.
As a kid, I could do a whole episode on her hair. I loved Rogue as a kid.
You also love Reba McEntire.
Even though it was the same actress, her voice didn't sound the same.
Y'all, when he says he loves Rogue,
sugar, everything, sugar,
not
sugar. that was both bad writing and bad directing. I feel like because we've heard those actors. There's 3 of them that changed. Well, we've heard those actors and we've heard them do amazing. You believe them. I think Cal was amazing, but I'm not. A lot of the other stuff was very
absolutely.
Are we in community theater, guys? I mean, you guys are professional actors. I've heard you guys. You guys are amazing. What happened? That's my last issue I want to bring up. Can we agree with that or no?
No, I mean, to some aspects, yeah. I mean, the Cyclops, Cyclops, I think it was Cyclops and Storm. It was just like so much from the voice acting, but
and the story
as far as like just the voices themselves, Rogue just like as soon as she started speaking right away.
You didn't buy it anymore.
That's not the
wasn't
voice
real.
I hear in my head from the
Mhm.
early days, or when I binged it 6 months earlier. But it was the same voice actress, right? I mean,
She was the same.
how
Same
long
voice
has
actor.
it been? It's
It's been a long
what,
time. The
20
difference,
some odd
the
years.
difference ones is Jubilee, because she wouldn't do it because, I'm not
Yeah.
going to say why. And then I believe that Beast died a couple months ago,
Oh, okay.
and there's one other character.
But it's just I think that time being
Yeah,
what it is, things change, so voices do too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And
but
I
yeah,
mean, I can get over the voice, but the acting was just felt different. I feel like they need. I think I'm not positive, but I feel like it might have been Andrea Romano that directed that, and she retired, which would make a lot of sense. She did all the DC stuff as well, so I think that could have been it, because she is a once in a generation talent as far as directing goes.
Good.
I try to give them a little more grace. I don't want to harp on that because I feel like it wasn't their performance. I feel like it was direction. I feel like there was someone saying, "No, give me more." That's what it felt like. I mean, we're getting a lot of.
yeah. I mean, I'm gonna take your word for it. That's a part of the
It's just a
industry I don't
guess.
dive too deep in, so
Yeah.
I just know what what I saw versus what I've seen previously.
Mm-hmm.
There was some
Now,
notice.
yeah, noticeable differences.
Yeah.
Now, with me saying all that negative stuff, I did not hate this show. I just killed Kevin. He's like, "What?" He wants to fly
You
from
tell.
Florida and shoot me. Okay,
You realize I
so
haven't said it. You're poking me again.
because it's fun, Kevin. It's like the highlight of my day. I don't think you understand. I get him so mad on this stuff. He literally records polos and deletes them.
you
He's like,
got
"I shouldn't say that."
you got a bunch of geeks over here that are just really passionate about what they love, and not
And-
all of us in the group love the same stuff.
But and the deal is, because I'm passionate about it, and you guys are passionate about it. Therefore, that's why I pick on it,
Yeah.
because I expect my heroes to be heroes. Was this a hero thing? No. Am I going to watch the second episode or second season when it comes out? Absolutely. I just have to shut my eyes for a couple seasons, a couple episodes, because the art's offensive.
I'll get you some tinted glasses.
But honestly, now with everything that I said, for me, I like the storylines.
Mhm.
I thought it was. I like the Cable stuff. Bishop was
I'm happy they did that. I'm
Bishop
happy
was
they
an
did that.
That was cool.
unnecessary
That was very
character.
cool.
No, Bishop was weird. Bishop
He was
just
unnecessary.
kind of wherever
He
he was at, he was there. It was like, okay, he's here now. Now he's not. He's here. Now he's not. It was
I'm
a
here
weird.
to take
Well,
your
'cause he-
baby.
That's how he was in the original show,
Yeah,
because it
but
felt
in the original
it feels very tokenism.
But in the original show, he had a reason to show up.
Yeah, there
He
was no reason.
But it was a reason. Like,
Yeah.
we didn't have any of his reasons. Like, hey, here's a time traveler. Now he's not. I will say the Cable stuff, I'm so happy that they showed that, because
Good.
they alluded to it. There was an episode where they were all on Leandra's ship and Cable was there and everything. This was I forgot what season it was, where Cable realizes that Scott is his dad.
Mhm.
This was happened in not this season, but a couple seasons before that. They alluded to it, but they
Which
never
was
actually
great writing, by the way.
and to have that payoff where we actually see the baby born and we actually see where that whole father-son moment. Oh, you're telling me to be careful? No, I'm going to tell you to whatever he said.
Yeah.
A little much,
it's
little
like-
much, but yeah.
To me, I'm glad they went there with Cable. You
Yeah.
know,
I felt like he was suddenly too close to mom and dad. I felt that was a little too close, too fast. I wanted that.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
wanted,
it would take a little
again,
time to warm up.
with a time thing. I want to see that happen over 3 seasons. I
Yeah.
don't want to see that happen first episode.
Yeah,
that
because
it's
he's a pretty
announced.
brash, gritty dude.
Okay, mom, I love you. Stop. Just and that's what you're talking about with the timing issue.
Mhm.
Whether it's supposed to be 9 months, if they need to make it next season that happens.
Mhm.
They definitely. I know you said it's high stakes. I'd say it's no stakes, because on that last episode, I'm watching. I'm like, okay, well, this is I have some ideas in my head. Okay, how they're gonna put everybody back to life. Okay, we're gonna start back in the beginning. Okay, yeah, we're good. So I don't feel like it's high stakes. I know you felt very high stakes, but that last episode made me feel like no, this is no stakes because by next
I
season,
completely disagree.
by next season, I feel like everything's gonna be back to normal. But
Well-
kill Morph. He was better dead. You guys watched the first episode? Yes, it was fantastic.
It's a great episode.
So
and it meant something. Anyway.
there was definitely. So first of all, Genosha, they said it. We know the rules of time travel in modern Marvel stuff now, right? Because this is actually a modern Marvel property. Is you have set moments in time, and a set moment in time now,
Multiverse.
Gambit dies. So
Multiverse.
that is something that has stakes now. We saw Gambit die. That's never happened in the other X-Men. So now we do have stakes. And then also, I will say, I was expecting the Phoenix to come. I was like, hey, this is setting up Phoenix. As soon as they have, like, all right, that's their jailbreak, get out of the jail free card. They can use whenever. They did it in comic book all the time.
Giant size X-Men. Yes, that's what they did.
So, but then you have the mind meld that was taking place with Magneto and Professor X. I don't know if they're going to continue to actually have Onslaught come, but and then the Wolverine. I mean, there's plenty of stakes going on.
I want to see a season of Wolverine with the bone claws.
Bone claws, yeah.
I want to see a full season of it.
Primal Wolverine. Whenever they were doing that, I'm like, there's no way they're going to do it. There's no way they're going to do it. And as soon as he started doing
those are some of the best issues ever.
Oh,
It looks so painful when it's not like the smooth metal. It looks painful when they come out. And I know they're supposed to be, but it feels that way with the comic. And I'm like,
I'm on the fence with this one. I'm on the fence.
Why's that?
That whole event, like, just, I've always been
too
on the
much
fence
too fast, but
I like just because it's that whole Wolvie as an adamantium skeleton and claws, and like that's my Wolverine. That's the Wolverine I want.
That's fair. But he's not doing much in this series. To be fair,
you want him to do
well. First, he had a much. I like his role better in the original.
Yeah.
You know what though? But
he still had.
Wolverine can't be the primary all the time. He can't.
Thank you. And that's what I was want to say is like, yeah, he was in a lot of the, but like to me, this
he was in them, but he wasn't. Yeah,
he wasn't like the primary character. I think the main the stars of this show would probably be Cyclops. They made Cyclops good. Like they actually did Cyclops right.
That was the other thing
they did.
Talk about.
Yeah.
They did Cyclops right. Oh my god, when he jumps out of the plane and he
shoots. Oh, that sequence!
I was like, oh my god, he did a superhero landing. Am I gonna like Cyclops? I hate that character.
Can I tell you why I disagree with you?
Okay, why?
Okay, and this is legitimate. In a lot of comics, that is Cyclops. I mean, wearing my Cyclops shirt now. I don't hate Cyclops by any stretch of the imagination, but that's not the Xmen97 Cyclops. Because it was one of those switch turned. Okay, he went from definite beta male to alpha, and Wolverine sitting in that second chair that's in a hotel room. Y'all know what it is. So I felt like the switch in another series. I'm down, but not for Xmen97. If that makes, because it was too drastic again, too fast.
Because I think that's a change that needed to happen. I think it's a change that needed to happen.
It could have been slower. Can
I'll give you that.
Put that up?
I'll give you that.
Because it was it's not the same character right away. Because I mean, Scott's turned evil a million times. He's led the X-Men. He's led the mutants.
Are we gonna get an evil Scott coming up? I mean,
I hope.
It might.
That's the only thing I'll be happy with. Well, they flipped the switch, so they have to do something.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah. Honestly, he's Wolverine at this point, so really, who cares? Because he's just the BA character,
Right.
Yeah, it happened too fast, and now Wolverine is the beta male. So that's why I'm glad they gave him the bone claws, because he's going to go do his own thing now.
He's going to go primal. He's going to go. Yep.
He's going to go in and
gonna be wicked. Yep.
do some destruction.
I'm for it, even though I don't like the event, and that doesn't feel like my Wolverine that I personally want. But it's going to be really fun to watch if they go that route.
So you have two segments of these characters now that are in time. They're traveling in time. One's with Nathaniel Summers, Cable. One is with Apocalypse. But then you also have your characters now that are still back at X Mansion, and one of them being Wolverine. It's interesting to think that Professor X is the one that really got into Wolverine's mind, calmed him down because he was kind of a bad guy, and he was not
he was a
bad guy.
tweener at the worst.
Yeah,
he was
but he was chaotic good.
Chaotic
right?
good.
But it really kind of toned him down a lot, and he became more of a team player and everything else. Professor X isn't there anymore, and then we're about ready to get Primal Wolverine. He's going to wind up doing some stuff, I think. We could have actually. Yeah, I do too.
And this is one. Okay, so we've had that full season of sitting in the chair, beta male Wolverine. Okay, now I feel like that's long enough. Now we can switch and do that. But if it would have been directly from that to this, Gene left me. Kill him and all. No one wants that.
Yep.
Yeah.
We want it. We just don't want it that fast.
Yeah. Well, feel like a natural progression.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of Sunspot?
Which is my Cyclops, huh?
What do you guys think of Sunspot? Yeah.
Enjoyable.
I loved some of the nods they gave, like X-Force characters. Who was that? Mr. Ultra or whatever his name is, the big, huge guy with the curl. I have a bunch of the comics.
That's a big guy or whatever. He's I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
And I love that they gave him Strongman. I mean, he's a cheesy character, but he's very memorable, and I love they gave him just like a 2-second. I'm like,
he was there. He was in it.
And that to me, if they need to keep doing more of that, and don't. I mean, I don't want the backstory. Just give me a little pop. I feel this is the geekiest episode I think we've done in probably 2 years, and I'm happy with that. That's the kind of stuff that makes me want to go back and start reading comics again. I stopped a long time ago because a lot of reasons, which you guys know, but I'm not going to get into. But this could get me interested again. And
that is the best compliment you can give.
I wish they would have used a different name. I wish this would have been its own series, because I would have loved every one of these. I would have been so less judgmental if it would have been its own series, its own name. Because I want something for my kids that are going to want to read comic books afterwards.
That's something you do to yourself.
I wanted the continuation.
Because I enjoyed this.
I definitely wanted the continuation.
Because I went in with a high expectation. And you get mad at me for coming in with low expectations. So now you understand why.
Yeah.
You get it.
Huh?
No, there's no winning, Kevin.
I will say, hey, so we had Captain America in.
That voice was so bad.
In the original X-Men, we had Captain America. We also had Spider-Man that showed up there one time. I didn't like the Captain America episode in this one, Xmen97. But what I did appreciate was that while the world was going to chaos and there was no power, we see all the different superheroes. Yeah, and they're all fighting their own. I like that.
Yeah,
Daredevil. I really did like that.
And again, they weren't given a part; they were just there, and that's they need to do more of that. They did
a really good job with making the world feel really big.
Yes.
Before it felt pretty closed in, and just had the little city scenes and stuff like that. This one it felt very worldwide.
Other than like a quick, cameo by like Ghost Rider, it never got any bigger in the original X-Men universe. So that's definitely a positive on there. What do you want to see next season? And that's really where we're going to end this up at. What do you want to see going forward? I think I've mentioned everything that I want to see. But Kevin, what do you want to see?
Well, I mentioned about the Wolverine. I want to see Primal Wolverine. I'm excited about that. I know people don't really care for the Onslaught character, but as a kid, I really loved that. And I think you're talking.
You like more if you don't have you don't get an opinion on that.
I was like third or fourth grade when the Onslaught, and I remember seeing that costume and just loving it. And I want to see if they can't do it justice. I don't know if they're going to go. I think they're going a different route now because they split the two teams and they're kind of going around. The Nathaniel Summers thing. So did you notice whenever Cable was talking to Cyclops, and Cable says, they told me stories about the X-Men, and I guess they were even truer or something like that. He says they're more than legends or something. He said that. Well, now all of a sudden we're going to have Cyclops and Jean Grey with the kid Nathaniel Summers. Like, I'm interested to see more of that relationship. I'm curious. I enjoyed that part of the show. And I want to see. I like Bad Magneto. I've always liked Bad Magneto.
I hate good Magneto.
Yeah, I do too. I want
stupid.
more Bad Magneto.
It just feels right.
I like my characters to have a reason why they turned bad, but I like them bad. I don't want to feel sympathy for them.
Yeah. And I think if we're getting Onslaught, we're not going to see Magneto, which kind of stinks. But hey, Rogue's costume changed there. She went to her villain costume, and she sided with Magneto. You might catch that.
Yeah.
No. Okay. So yeah, I'm excited about this next season, and I'm excited where we go in the MCU from here. I mean, if the Marvel can do this, MCU can do this with this cartoon. Hopefully, they can do something with a movie.
You have so much faith. That is adorable that you think that.
Hopefully, you see my face right now. If you're listening to this on Spotify, I don't have a lot of faith in it. Okay, hopefully,
it's so adorable that you think. Oh, low expectations. You'll be happier. Tyler, what about you, bud? What do you want to see?
I'm never real specific on what I really want to see, other than just like a couple little things here and there, and a lot of it aligns up with Kevin. I want to see the Wolverine stuff that's going to come about. Yeah, as I also, like I said, prefer Bad Magneto. That'd be nice, because that just feels right. It feels right when they're going up against Magneto, and there's just little glimpses here and there of like Charles and his friendship and all this and that. So going from here, the time travel thing is really what I'm just curious about, how they're really going to negotiate that, or navigate that, because they did it with Cable, Bishop, whoever in the original cartoon, but now this has got a different feel to it. It's got a whole different feel to it. Very close to like the stuff we're starting to get into or have been getting into in the MCU. So I'm very curious how they're going to navigate that. I'll just go with the flow wherever they want to go, as long as it's good. It's got some depth.
Well, you notice that at the last part, they're going to help Apocalypse fight Kang. They show Chronopolis. That was Chronopolis in Egypt, which means Kang is in there. So are we still getting Kang? I love Kang, and I'm so upset about the whole us not getting Kang right now. So I want to see Kang, and it's really going to be weird them siding with Apocalypse. Like, I don't really care for that, but that's what it seems like they're setting up, right?
They do a lot of that lesser of two evil stuff in X-Men, though.
Yeah,
they side with every evil person at some point or the other. Yeah. Now, what I want to see next season, and watch Kevin's head explode on this one. I want to see at least 18 episodes, because I want it to be how they used to do it. Even in Amazing Spider-Man, they did the same thing. It's an arc at a time, so you have all these different stories going.
Right.
But I want an arc of this, and I don't want the other crap. And then I want an arc of Wolverine being Wolverine Primal, and then 3 episodes, and then I want 3 episodes of the future, and then I want the last episodes of everybody coming together. That's what I want, and I think I feel like this show deserves, and that's the only way they're going to be able to do storytelling slow enough to make it make sense. This was too fast.
If they did that for this show, if they gave it another 4 or 5 more episodes, we would not be having some of the conversations we're having right now. I can agree that, because it would have stretched out the Madeline Pryor thing. It would have stretched out certain stories.
That going that fast, it never makes sense.
Yep.
It deserves.
We read the comics, so we know, but that's not what it's about.
The Storm arc. I mean, the Storm arc could have been 2 or 3 episodes.
And as the standard, it was boring and dumb. It's like,
as awesome as that was, it didn't have the payoff for me that I would hope it would have.
And it's because it was compressed.
And that's not to say it wasn't great. Everything that happened was real fun to watch. It was very enjoyable. But you could have done it a better solid by drawing some of that out.
Okay.
I found myself watching this show and being excited about the next episode. And it's been a while since that's happened with a Marvel product.
Yeah.
And I know you guys like it, but I do not want to see this as part of the MCU proper. I like this being its own thing. That's me. Because I don't want to have to try to jam Miss Marvel and all this other crap into it. I want this show. Because this show is good. The rest of the Marvel Universe, there's a few things I like, but not much, to be fair.
I think we're going to get
She-Hulk.
Well, I think we're going to get two universes, and that's what's going to be colliding. Like, that's one of the thoughts, is that it's actually going to be X-Men versus Avengers. I don't know, but I like this two separate universes. But at the end of the day, we do know at the end of this that they will be coming together. I don't know what that looks like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of agree with you, just because I don't know how they do it right.
Yeah, I don't think they can.
It doesn't necessarily have to have an impact in the greater MCU and stuff.
No, because this is what's this series is what's important to comic geeks. This isn't important to people that aren't into comics. None of this is. The other stuff, I like Marvel, so that's for them. This is for us, if that makes sense. Yeah, but with the way how fast the storytelling was, it can't be for anybody but us because they haven't read the books. With that being said, I want to hear your guys' grades, and we'll go home. And hit the subscribe and like button while you're at it. You like that? I kind of threw that in there. Okay, Kevin, what's your grade?
It got
really
okay. It gave me what I was wanting, and it gave me what I didn't realize I wanted. It gave it to me. I mean, it's not an A+. There was still things, but I found myself emotionally invested in every episode. There were characters that I remembered and loved. They made characters that I didn't really care for. They made me care for them. This was an A for me.
Fair enough. Tyler?
Initially, I would say a B+.
Fair enough.
But just for our buddy Blythe, the nostalgia took it up to an A.
Actually, the nostalgia took it down for me because the original I give the A+. I think is one of the best cartoons ever made.
Yeah, you've been kind of steadfast on that.
But with that being said, it's like, oh, well, let's get the divider in there, and we're at a C+, B-, which isn't a bad grade by any stretch of the imagination. But because of that nostalgia factor, with that being so high, you have nothing else to compare it to. So the nostalgia made it go down because it wasn't as how I wanted it. Because
I don't get a whole lot
is perfect.
That gives me that nostalgic feeling of like, man, just all the memories of just Saturday morning flooding back and stuff, and running and hopping over the back of the couch stuff because I hear the theme song. Like all that comes back every time I get that bird flying across and the X-Men logo.
It's the only time that I wasn't skipping through the opening song. We listened to it every single time.
Well, you can't. I mean, that's one of those things. The intro A+. I mean, yeah, duh.
Yeah.
All right, we got something. We can end it now.
But yeah, overall, I mean, I thought it was absolutely a fantastic show. They did a great job to it. I think they honored what we had as kids pretty well. There's some little things here and there, but it was nothing to take me out of the show.
Yeah.
Or to make me go, maybe I'll just catch up with that later. It's like, no, I gotta see it.
I would say it's been better than anything else that's been on Disney Plus for at least a year. In fact, I would say probably.
I'd have to look into some of the dates.
The WandaVision stuff was the last great thing, and then maybe Moon Knight. But other than
Loki,
that,
come on now.
Loki was good. Okay,
yeah.
But it's bad. It's bad that I forgot about it. But yeah, that's where this sits. It's above everything else that they put out in quite a while, including the Star Wars stuff.
They've had some bumps in the road for sure. They are trying to find their way.
But I feel like
feels
that's its own show, and we all have opinions on that that'll get us canceled.
Yeah. No, I mean, but this is a good sign for me to still keep some hope that, it's going to start getting to be banger after banger one day like we had before.
So, yeah, I mean, I keep trying to end it, but then we hit on something else that's interesting on that I want to hit. But yeah, well, say Deadpool and Wolverine, just because I know that's going to be great, doesn't forgive every other bad Marvel movie. It's so, and are they going to ever be able to top Deadpool Wolverine? No. So are they going to be able to top X-Men? Probably not, but I hope. Okay, so check out the website, www.iheartgeekshow.com. Use the code we paid extra for it. Watch Kevin's head explode. Go to our Facebook, go to our Twitter, talk to us. We do talk back. And if you want to know, Kevin's doing the Twitter, so if you cuss at him and tell him how bad the X-Men are, he will just go after you, and it's amazing.
Egging him on.
That'll make my day. Not that anybody else on the show does that.
More my favorite character.
Keep on geeking on, guys.
You have been listening to the latest episode of the iHeart Geek Show. Make sure you visit our website at www.iheartgeekshow.com. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you check us out on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And keep on geeking on to all of you geek rock stars.